Oh, hello. Thank you for being here with me. We're a few seconds early still, so settle in and um, get what you need to be comfortable for a half-hour practice. My kitty is laying on my scarf here. He's kind of in a feisty mood. We'll see what happens. My dog is over there. Another cat may join us later. A beautiful sunny morning, spring, still spring. It's been cool here in Northern Virginia, a cool May. In contrast, our last couple years, I remember having some really hot weather in May. The weather, I love talking about the weather. If you're here live, it would be wonderful to see a chat from you. Then I know you're there because I'm very limited in the back and forth here. But there you go. Hello, Joanna. I saw your name on the roster. Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. Um, I would like to mention also on the sign up, which is not essential. This is a free offering, but it does let me know who's going to be there, either live or watch later. Somebody named Hannah also. So thank you. And I know many of you watch later, as a Sunday morning is can be a time for church attendance or getting together with family, all kinds of things. So I was going to say something. Also you can email me at alex@sunandmoonstudio.com and give me some feedback that way. Uh, so awesome. Oh yeah, I was telling you about I attend Jackie's meditation on Friday mornings. It's through our website, sunandmoonstudio.com. Um, she's a good friend, and she and I taught together, led retreats together. And times are a little different now for us, but she Zooms her class from her home, not far from Baltimore, in Pasadena, Maryland. And after that, the wonderful thing about Zoom is after her class, we can chat together. She stops the recording and then we chat. So we don't have that opportunity here, but only the chat that you send me this way. So my name's aLex. We're here for a half hour of practice of the quieter, more yin explorations and in quieter, usually smaller movement and centering, and then in a stillness sitting. I You could be sitting today. I was almost going to sit on the couch. I wanted the more comfort, but I've ended up on the floor. You can sit however you like. You can be lying down. You can do a standing practice as well. So do what you need and get the materials you need. I need to have a cushion under my one of my knees. So let's arrive after that entrance. Arrive. And I'm very passionate about this part of the practice. This just the word for me conjures up, okay, all the places my attention's been, my body's been attending to house chores, pet chores, serving breakfast to my house guests and myself. And now to just arrive. If you can imagine, maybe if you attend yoga at a studio where you begin with a setting, a centering like we do at Sun and Moon, that feeling is another kind of feeling where you're in not your home, but someplace else dedicated to this practice. You leave your shoes at the front, near the front door, unroll your mat, and maybe sit or lie down and just come to arrive. And I invite us to feel and notice as an observer what that entails, what we notice about it. There is coming to stillness, toward stillness. This part of the practice, stillness, is not yet imperative, but it really does help for arriving, doesn't it? And there might be a noticing of how certain parts of your body feel. Perhaps there's a noticing of how your mind is moving, where it's focused, how it's opening or relaxing. And you might be noticing your breath. I'm I have my own little way of coming into centering 3 words, but I'm gonna use my friend Christine's words. She's also a yoga and meditation teacher and much more. Uh, uh, she does, sound oh my god, it's escaping me. Sound baths with, instruments that are lovely, lovely, lovely. Um, she uses the cues hands, feet, feet. And so even if you're lying down, even if you're lying down, you can feel these parts. The seat is not in seat, not in seat configuration, but it's still there. And notice by bringing attention to hands, feet, feet, perhaps noticing, I'll share with you what my mind is reporting. My hands are feel a little bit puffy. My joints feel a tiny bit puffy, and they feel warm and a little bit tingly. And so you might do that with your feet, with the idea of seat, the location and idea of seat, and just verbalize for yourself. See what your mind is very likely reporting anyway, and see if the words even say them out loud if you feel comfortable in your space, and see if the words that come match your experience. Do they line up? So, for example, the puffiness that was pretty close. It's really just a little different, but I don't have the word for it. A little puffy is as close as I can get now, but warm is also a little bit misses what. mm, I'm not sure why, but maybe a gesture. This feels more bright than warm, actually. The gesture. But my point here is we we automatically assign labels or commentary. That's a lot of times we're not so aware of it, and it's not so true anymore for us. So what's true? Those 3 together, though, the little puffy, a little warm, a little tingly, those work. It's sort of like when we season something. If you just season with salt, lemon, and pepper by themselves are each very different. Together, there's something totally new. Or you might find, oh, it's not puffy, but it's swollen. It's swollen. And that might ring true. So as we're arriving, we kind of, in a sense, slow time, or we really come into this now moment, which is really the only moment there is. But we often, and there's positive aspects of this, we remember things or we draw on things from the past or the way we've experienced and labeled, but it really may not be valid or true in this moment. Okay, so this practice is called focusing. It's really valuable for lining up with what's true and for freeing ourselves of what might not be true anymore. And it complements the movement and the meditation and in our ability to live our life more freely and and joyfully. Let's come to the breath now, and we'll segue into a movement. And I'm going to invite you to notice perhaps you need something to raise your energy. I need something more calming. You might need both, but I am going to, if you need something to raise your energy, you might use arm movements with this. And I'm going to, ah, okay. If you need something to lift your energy, when you breathe in, take your arms up overhead in some way, forward and to the side or up. If you'd like to lower your energy, you can join me in a practice from I learned from one of my teachers where my hands are about just about the level of the top of my head, the palms facing down. And I'm going to slowly over many breaths be bringing the hands down as if they're following a water level that's uh, draining. So if you're needing to lift your energy, arms go up with the in breath, down with the out breath. And if you're needing to calm your energy, come come along with me with hands slowly coming down as you breathe, but noticing, being cognizant and feeling the in and out breath. And if you're in the hands coming down, slowly mode, sort of sensing that level as if it cuts through the body as well, as if you're standing in a pool of water that's draining, allowing your breath to deepen a little if that feels nice. Allowing a pause at the top of the inhale, a little pause at the bottom of the exhale. Noticing where you might relax more in the jaw, around the eyes. And when your hands come to a natural resting place, just let them be still and rest. And after your next lift of the arms, if you're doing the energizing option, then exhale and let the arms be still. And now, just observe any particular way you sense your thinking mind, the energy of your mind, of your nervous system. Was there an immediate effect of the practice, calming or energizing? And whatever else you notice in the feel of your body and the reporting that's coming from body, from heart, from mind, from breath. And our role in this practice, it sounds like I'm dividing us in pieces. In a sense, we are pieces, but all a whole of us. Is we're observing and being witnessing, as I mentioned last week. WITHNESSING. I'm passing along. These are gems from my teachers from the Embodied Life School. Blending awareness through movement, meditation, and this inquiry practice. And before we start into our meditation, so feel free to be in some movement or change your position. And I'm going to share a little Zen story that Russell Delman shared. It was maybe maybe a year and a half ago, or maybe more, that I heard this story. And there's a couple different versions, and I may add. I've referenced this before. I'll add a link in the notes to an essay he wrote. There's a couple essays he wrote on this story. And if you were here last week, I haven't posted the poem yet. I don't think I did that I shared last week, so I will do that in last week's video. So this Zen story, I'm going to tell you part of it. I'm going to leave the last line for a little bit later. Two birds contending over a frog. I think one version has crows. And a monk who saw this, they're fighting over this frog as food. A monk who saw this asked his master, "Why does it come to that?" The master, Dogshan, replied, "It's only for your benefit," and for something else, which I'll leave for a moment. So this is a little koan-ish. Like, what does that mean? These two birds fighting over this source of food, the frog. And how is it for our benefit? So one interpretation of this is as a saying goes, sort of, if it's one of my other teacher I like says, if it's here, it's for you. If it's here, there's something here for you. It might be that you're asked to help. It might be that you're asked to investigate how this makes you feel. It might be that you are just there to observe it. And that is, I say just that word, but it's the just observing is so powerful. Witnessing and witnessing. And so I'm going to pair this with another little poem that I also learned from Russell Delman, and it's by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. I read her book years ago. I think it was called The Invitation. And this is a poem called Spring Blessing. One day you wake up, able to name the weight you've been carrying, realizing it's not a part of your body or being, and not essential in any way to journeying or joy. There's a second half of this poem too, but I will leave that for either later or put it in the notes. I think this first part is so powerful, matching with this inquiry practice. And so as we arrive and we take these practices of stopping the way of the world, the marketplace pulls us to be involved and engaged, which is all important and relevant and integral to our being. But we're out of balance, many of us, that way. And when we don't take the time to quiet, to contemplate, to reflect, to nourish this inner life that this computer mind of ours that has taken in so much, and it sort of needs some housekeeping, some dusting, and perhaps some reconfiguring of perspective in order to really function at optimal for our true nature to shine. So that moment, to take this moment where we wake up to, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was carrying this weight, this story, this word, this grievance. The other part of the poem I'll share with you now. Not essential in any way to journeying or joy, you set it down gently, without fanfare, in the long, soft grass at the side of the road, and walk on. Surprised to find yourself smiling in the warm sun for no particular reason at all. So, this is a little bit of this practice of inquiry that we get center, we stop, we get still, and we see something, that we let the muddy water settle from that Zen image, I think it is, or Buddhist image. And And it frees us up, often just to see it clearly. Often there's no solving, analyzing, or anything else needed. It's just the clarifying. Or sometimes in the clarifying, we get clear on what is my next obvious step. We get untangled from the all the possibilities and we pull way back. Is one way to, yeah, we pull way back, we relax, and then it's as if like the cameras are getting so much more on our phones, are getting so much more clear. The resolution's getting so much better. In our practice, we become better and better at, okay, that's not needed. I can set it down. This is needed. Let me take this up and walk with it. And so, in the next part of our practice, where we're going to be still, be the observer of our breath, of our experience, this meditation practice, as we notice these, we may notice this practice complements the inquiry in that we sort of need to be able to get this stillness and this detachment, or this it's another word I wanted, that non-reactivity. There's a Sanskrit word for that I'm forgetting just now. Uh, but in the practice of meditation, once you see that, and instead of engaging with it, just say, like, put it on the back burner. We'll attend to that in the inquiry way later. For now, we just return to our seat. It's like you're the guest house and you let the guest serve yourself at the tea buffet and we'll talk later. For now, I'm being still. So with that, let's embark on an 8-minute meditation. I don't ring my bell because it doesn't come across, but we'll start the meditation with a bow. My timer on. And so revisit any of the tools you know to set up for your meditation, and perhaps hands, feet, seat, some jiggling that you do to find your ease with gravity, your breath, your tallness in the spine, your buoyancy, finding how you place your hands. You might relax your jaw and mouth a little bit more. You may just have a slightly open gaze, just enough to let light and a little bit of color in. You may have your eyes closed. That's fine too. And I'll just offer one more technique of the throwing yourself a lifesaver. If you find yourself challenged or distracted in the practice, you might come to watch 3 full breaths, like we talked about last week. 3 full breaths. And so whatever enters here into the field of your attention is not rejected. Might be noticed. It might linger. It might pass through fast. And we remain as the witnessing observer, unchanging. You will have visitors, most likely. a little ache in the shoulder, a rumble in the belly, a mind storm, more and more, back away as if from behind or above, without disengaging, but just to see the more wholeness of yourself. As you fall in love with your breath, and as seductive as the strings of words may be that come to you, like we played with on purpose in the beginning, in the inquiry focusing practice. But as you can, just let that go, like you just open the hand and let go, let the helium balloon fly. You've likely heard teachings. If it's important, it will come back to you. Few more breaths together in this stillness, silence practice. Once again, if you like, you can join me in a bow to signify the end of our practice. And like with the way we've been attending to all parts of ourself in this practice, notice what it feels like to bow in the signal of the end of this particular kind of practice and the feel of it, the reverence, the gratitude, the bestowing a sense of respect to yourself and to each other. And so it's only for your benefit. Perhaps this idea, and you can contemplate it and then read the link as I put it up uh, in the notes. Read Russell's ideas on this is that what comes to us, maybe it's a nagging, recurring pattern of thinking or response in relationships, something kind of quite close to our knowing of ourself in relationships and how we might there might be something more in that, especially if it's nagging at us. What is it? Can we look at it a new way? Can we invite a fresh way of pondering it, maybe even with another person or another, turn it on its head? And similar with events that are maybe bigger outside in our social circumstances. It's for us, for us. The last line of that poem or that story, Zen story, is, and you caused it, and you caused it. That's complicated and yeah. But anyway, I will link you to the Russell's writings that may elaborate that more. And I think I'll reread them myself and address them these next couple weeks. Uh, I'm also wearing a button made by my friend who was here, and she might be watching later. It says public. It's in her own handwritten font. And yesterday I had the opportunity the two of us went to a beautiful sculpture garden that's massive here in Northern Virginia. Actually, it's in Maryland over the river. It's called Glenstone. It's a free place to go. We happen to get access because she has a student ID. I think you have to get tickets because they limit how many people come in there. And it's an amazing rolling hills park with it's modern art, modern architecture. So there are sculptures in the on the grounds, just beautiful fields of flowers and trees and serene and a little, for me, surreal in the way the modern sculpture and architecture pops up. Yeah, it's lovely, and it's has a huge endowment, so it's privately funded, but it's free, public. It's for everyone to enjoy and to be with the art and the nature, to enjoy, to experience. They do very little interpretation of the art there, and there are some docents on the ground, and some of them they'll tell you more if you ask them questions. But they leave it to really, I left one of the sculptures thinking, I really, this kind of art, I need more interpretation for it. And I caught myself just like in this, like I was telling myself this story, but I did have certain feelings about how it made me feel, how it was, I liked one aspect of it, but not the others. Anyway, so as I investigated, I was in a way doing this practice, which I believe are, I'm going over on my time, I know, but I'll let you go in a second. When we foster this ability to be quiet, to take the bigger perspective from our usually clamped down, we're sort of limiting ourselves by our, we're caught up in our thinking. But when we can breathe, pause, make more space, something new comes in to inform us and to let us see in a fresh way. And I find this really enriching to being, to joy. All right, darlings, thank you so much for joining me. Do check out our sunandmoonstudio.com offerings. And Another way you can, thank you, Joanna. Thanks for joining. Another way you can leave me messages, especially if you're watching later, is the chat won't be available, but you can leave, what's it called down there? Underneath the video, there's comments. You can leave me a comment and I'll check those. All right. I hope to meet you again, Joanna. Take care. Enjoy your day and your week. See you next time.